Hi, I'm Miss Millie Safranek, and I'm the Learning Resource Center Coordinator at REOC. I'm going to take you through a couple of things that are important to you when you are learning and practicing the TABE test. So right here, this is what's called the online tools training. Anyone can go to this. You would go to tabetest.com. And then under resources, you would scroll down to online tools training. From here, you're going to click on the word here, and that's going to take you into this module. Now, this looks exactly like the actual TABE test is going to look like when you take the test. It's going to be on a computer, and it's going to have a lot of different functions and features, which are good for you to practice before you go in and take the actual test. So right now, I'm going to go into TABE 11 and 12, Mathematics, Level M, Standard. Audio format is for those individuals who might have visual difficulties. So right here, it's asking me for a username and password, but notice that it also provides me with a username and password right here. So you're just going to type in the username and the password and click sign in. Then it's going to go through a series of instructions and information, which is a good idea for you to read through before you come in to take the exam. All right, I'm going to click the begin the test, green begin the test button. All right, there are several buttons on both the top and the bottom of the screen that I want to draw your attention to. The first one that I want to draw your attention to is this one here, the review and test. I think that one's pretty self-explanatory. When you click on that, that's you end the test. It will give you an opportunity to review any questions that you're not sure about, and then you can go from there. The next button is this pause button. If I press the pause button, many people may think that this will pause the timer on your test because all of the test sections are timed. Pressing the pause button does not, in fact, pause your test. So I strongly recommend that you do not use the pause button unless the test administrator suggests that you use that. The next button is the flag button. This button is
Are you on the phone?
No, I was recording a video.
Oh, you're in the middle?
I was in the middle, but then my screen went out. Okay, so in addition to the pause button and the review and test button, we have the flag button right here. The flag button is something that's really good. Whenever you click the flag button, that will show you at the end which questions that you might not be 100% sure of, and you'd like to go back and review that. The next button is the options button. This is particularly good for individuals who might have visual difficulties, and it'll change the color of your screen. It's not particularly helpful unless you have visual difficulties. Up at the top, these are going to be very important to you on all of the different types of the tests. This first one is this X plus Y, and this is your math reference sheet. I always recommend students review the math reference sheet before you take the exam. So you don't need to memorize all of your geometry formulas. It will be here on the test and available to you, but you should review it before you go in and take the test so that you know what, for example, a rectangular prism is. The next button over is your calculator button. So you will see your calculator will appear and disappear depending on the type of question. So you're going to have to be very observant to notice when you have the calculator and when you do not. The next button is the line guide. This will give you a nice blue line to help guide your eyes, and it can be particularly helpful on the reading test when you have longer passages of reading. The next button is your magnifier. I would think that almost anybody might need a magnifier from time to time, particularly if you're trying to look at a graph or chart up close. You will have a sticky note available, so if you want to write yourself a note, you can do that right on the screen. However, you should also have scrap paper available during the testing session. And then finally, you will have a highlighter available to you. And I think this is particularly important, again, on the reading section of the test. You'll notice that not all of the questions are going to be multiple choice. So this one is not multiple choice. You're going to have to actually input the answers that you feel are correct. You click the next button to go on to the next screen. When you go on to the next screen, you notice right away that you've lost your calculator. However, you do have this nice little cross-off feature, which will allow you to cross off any that you know are incorrect so that visually you don't have to look at them. If you want to mark the correct answer, you're going to hover your arrow over the top of the oval until it turns into a little pencil. And then you'll be able to click on that and it'll color it in. That now you've marked your answer. When I go on to the next question, I still do not have a calculator. Still no calculator, but this type of question is also very common where you have fractions integrated with your geometry question. This question right here, this is a very common setup type question where they're giving you the problem. They do not necessarily want you to solve the problem. They just want you to demonstrate that you know what you need to do in order to set it up. This is also fairly common on the TABE test where they are going to give you a series of data and then they want you to mark the chart that is going to best represent the data that they've provided for you. Okay, we finally have use of a calculator, so we can select that if we choose to in order to help us answer the question. And I want to draw your attention to this part where it says select all that apply. These types of questions are typically 2-point questions. So you want to pay careful attention to these questions and make sure that you select as many as they recommend. And then finally, we have one more tool. This is the protractor tool. All I'm going to do is I'm going to line up the dots, line up the lines, and then I can see right away that this is 35 degrees. I'll mark that, go on, and now I'm finished with the test. You'll see that there is a review flag right here. If I click on that, I can go back and review whatever questions that I might want. When I've finished reviewing, I'll click the green review end test button and be able to go back over here. Okay.